יש הרבה דיבורים שם. שמשכים לשמוע שאנחנו ילדים, נכדים, כדי אישור שזה אפשר לבוא בזה. צהל אמר לי, יש דירות, אבא של סבא שלו. אבא של סבא שלו השאיר דירה, זה שייך עכשיו היה לו 12-13 ילדים.
מי?
אבא של סבא שלו. אבא שלו?
אבא שלו.
סבא זה היה לו 10 ילדים. 10 ילדים היה אבא שלו. זה כבר, אתה יודע, זה ממש 300, והיום זה כבר כמעט על 3,000. עוד נכדים. אפשר להוזיז כזה ירושה? בית סגור, אפילו לא מושכר.
לכן הוא אומר, תיתן את זה, תהיה שם בינתיים.
אותו דבר גם יש איך קוראים לו? סקטון. שפרד. יש לו אדמה בכרוב, שהוא יש לו 6% מזה. הוא יושב על זה. הוא מזכיר את זה, לאמא שלו, לאבא שלו. אף אחד לא יכול להתווכח איתו, שמי יתווכח איתו? כל אחד הוא יורש אחד מ3,000. הוא לא עזבו כבר את זה. הוא יש לו 6%.
למה, יש לנו רק דונה. הוא אמר לי, יש לנו דונה.
זה המון, אפשר לעשות הרבה.
כל המשפחה, הם לקחו הרבה, והוא לקח, המשפחה שלי זה רק דונה.
לא. המון?
לא.
זה המון? טוב, אני רואה שהדפים שלי למטה בבית. בואו נגמור אותם שמשקוב תמיד. אוקיי.
חידוש גדול שווה כל ההונדעה. כל ההונדעה. זה קצת מציע.
אני כותב את זה, כל דבר?
כן. כל ההונדעה. נכון. יש רבית את כל ההונדעה.
לגמרי. Okay. So we're going to see again the Rishimut Shkop. Siyata Nishmai.
Yeah. You didn't finish him.
Started by saying there's two types of.
You hear me?
Two of fanim. Two.
You didn't hear me. Sutta.
The two situation of shlichus. One is that the shlichus helps for the ikar kinyan. Otherwise, you're a stranger, and the shlichus makes you not a stranger, so it helps with the ikar kinyan. It helps with ikar kinyan, for example, Teruma, Yerushin. Say the same thing is Kiddushin. Kiddushin is a ma'asekicha. In order for somebody to do a ma'asekicha, cannot be a stranger. Somebody, a stranger, gives a get to a woman is nothing. It's a piece of paper. Somebody, a stranger, takes off ma'ase. It's not a force of Teruma ma'ase. It's no chalo. It's nothing. There are things that the shlichus are just relating, relationship. But the act is there. For example, Nezikim. Nezikim, killing of Chafiras Boil. Nezikim, it's there. You want to relate it to the Meshalech, to the sender. So the action is there. There's a damage. You just want to relate who did it. The Ma'aseh Avera, the Ma'aseh Mitzvah, the obligation, etc. So then, that's another type of shlichus. So how do I look at Kiddushin? So here it depends. If the third party gave the woman shtar, she gave a shtar. Here it is of Chaim. If shtar zeh is catching the plane. No Havamina. He's not a shliach, there's nothing. What?
Another person can start to distribute to him. Not money.
Not money, shtar.
Remember,
the
The star was written by the Baal, isn't it?
what?
If the star was written by the Baal, not by the one who's giving it, why would it be? It's not what we don't give, it's only the star.
Face.
You have to give the star, you have to receive the star. It depends, if you have to give it or receive it.
What's the case again, Rav Yitzchak? What's the case?
What?
Well, he didn't write this star. He didn't write this star. Baal had to write the star, can't be someone else write the star? That's right, it could let someone write a star or the Baal wrote the star.
La Shlichus de Pornestad pasaría. Face to face, por face. Por.
Oh, sure, if the guy made the star himself.
Face to that.
Ja, Schuster. Heb je dat verstaan?
Ah, score.
You don't know who wrote this?
¿Sabe qué?
Let's go over again. Tonight, I just not looked over the Gemara of Chav Gimel. Chav Gimel. Achloikes in Ramei and Chachomim. Evet Kanaini can misgarish b'shtar too. Can acquire himself b'shtar too. Kesef or shtar. If somebody gives a shtar for the slave to the master, it's free. Shtar de'achei. Atzim was machlokes there. If it's de'achei or not.
What's this, the star has,
The Shlichus.
What?
the star has to mechayiv somebody, what is this, the star is for a certain amount of money?
So I understand like this.
What?
That we said there are two types of shlichus. Two stories, two situations. One situation is like Truma and Girushi. There, if you're not a shliach, the Maisek Ika Maisakin does not done. It didn't start. Shluchus makes you to be not a zah, to have the ability to make a Maisakin. Otherwise, there's not nothing. It's just an act, it's not Maisakin. But that's by Girushin and by Truma. But by Nezikim, the mice is a mice. You just want to meyaches, you want to relate it to the Shaleh, so the shlichus only relates the action to you. The action is done. So yes. So the question is here: how do I define here? So I want to talk about shtar. I want to talk about kesef. If somebody gives the woman kesef and he tells her, "This money's for the sake of Ploini," so the fact he owns the kesef.
The one to give them.
One who gives the money owns the kesef, the money. He owns it. So since he owns the money, so then he's not an alien. One who gives the money, one who owns the money, is the one that gives the money, the one who's the Maisa Kinyan. So he has the ability to make a Maisa Kinyan. But for himself, he wants to direct that Maisa Kinyan to somebody else. That we learn from the Canaan that it works, but the Maisa Kinyan is there. You just need to relate it to somebody. So there, the shlichus is only to relate the action to the husband. But the Maisa Kinyan is done. He owns the money. He does the Maisa Kinyan of Kiddush and Maisa Kicha. So you have a woman receives money, and that's a Maisa Kicha. Even though the receiving income from the husband but came from one who owns that money, so he does a Maisa Kicha for this woman and to obligate this woman for Kiddushi. To obligate to who? He says to a third party, to the husband. And you don't need the nesina of the husband. You need the kicha of the husband. The kicha is being done through somebody else. He's not an alien. Forming medina with knaini.
It's like the Rambam said in Chodesh Lut that they don't apply a benefit indirectly, but the men get married with the woman with the benefit that they got. Very similar from Rambam.
The Rambam says you're getting married benefit of
With the
pleasure.
We don't need physical money and no apply a benefit indirectly.
Yes. Right.
That's the government.
No, we're not talking about what he got, what she got. We're talking about how does it work? Two different things. How the machinery works. What does every Kanani does for me? So if a third party gave money, so the Maisa Kinyan is done through him, and it relates to the woman, it relates to the husband, the husband made that Maisa Kinyan through him at Kanani. There's no Nesina, there's only a Maisa Kinyan and Kabbalah. The kicha of the husband is being done through a Maisa Kinyan is done for him.
It's like the rush. What the rush say.
How can you, I don't see how to separate it. Nesina without money is not Nesina. And someone without Nesina is not kicha.
No, he's like it must come through you. You're the one that mounts the kicha, that's kicha.
What?
What?
I don't see what the two parts here that were separate. We're saying this part and that part. I can't see two parts. I can't see what the two parts are.
You can't see.
I can't
You can't see a Maisa Kinyan without a Nesina.
Part works one way, other part works another way. But I can't see what the two parts are.
What bothers you? Why you don't see two
One
parts?
part is one shtichus and the other part is a different shtichus.
That you don't see?
I can't see what the two parts are. I can't see two parts. But the two farim is only two mikvim. No, he's saying that each one thing you need the liquid, another thing you don't need, you know automatically. No.
He's not saying that. He's saying that by Girushin and by Truma, the Maisa Shlichus is to create a Maisa. Before it can first of all, in Shlichus, that you got it two times. Okay. Now there is two types of Shlichus. One is that the Shliach, you make him yourself, so you may through the Shlichus, there's a Maisa Kinyan here. And there's another thing is through Shlichus is you just relating his Maisa to you. The Maisa is a Maisa to anyhow. So he's saying he wants to adapt that to Evet Knaini. Evet Knaini by Kiddushi, when somebody gives the woman money and he says, you'll be married to Ploini, to the husband. So when he's giving money, how do I look at that money? He's an alien, and there's no Maisa Kinyan Kiddushi, or he's not an alien because he owns the money, although he's not the husband, she's not going to be obligated to him. She's going to be Meshuba to somebody else, the third party, but a Maisa Kinyan he can create. Like a reality damage. Create a Maisa Kinyan by giving him his own money, he's giving her. The third party gives her his money, which he owns. He says, this money will create a Maisa Kiddushi for him. So that Maisa Kicha will be related to him, Misyaches to him. So the husband has a Maisa Kicha as related to him, not that he created, that is related to him. Misyaches to him. The one who created the Maisa Kinyan is the third party. He said, that's Kesef. Yeah.
I wanted to give tzedakah for a man that got married. That money don't belong to me anymore because I think that money is belong to the person that I want to give that money. as it's happened the same in this Shlichus, when you have
You give the money to the woman.
yeah,
The third party gives money to the woman. She does a ma'aseh kicha of kinyan. For who? To be obligated to the third party, to the husband. That's all. Yes.
The three. So I put the three, I put Kabbalah to the Tzidek Cholah.
Then you
It
can't.
works, why not? It's the same thing.
Because mitzvah is a begufay. Mitzvah in your own body. No, who says begufay? No, you need to be, you need, in order to create the mice, you need to have money. You need to own the money. Money that you own can create a mice kicha. So somebody else owns the money. It's creating mice kicha. It just needs to relate it to you. That we live in Canaan, it can relate to you. Or misvava, or Canaan is machlekes. See in a second.
By the kicha, that means he separated two parts, the kicha into two parts. One is sometimes, but there's no way to separate this.
I know where to separate. Somebody else does the mice kicha. Kicha means the taker. So somebody else does the mice kicha by she receiving money. The director, so what? He gave her money. There is giving and money. There is giving and money. Somebody else. No, we say we don't need giving. You don't need giving, you need taking. So somebody does the mice taking and related to you. So the husband has a paula that related to him that he does the kicha. You understand, Rabbi? Right. Very good. So now what happens if the third party didn't give money, gave shtar? Gave a shtar. It would be different. Oh, the shtar. The shtar would be Aram Kodeshes Leploini. I think well, it wouldn't work. Why? Because the only reason why I look on the third party that he can create it myself because he owns the shtar, he owns the money. So the one who owns the money, gives the money, so that money that he owns can create a ma'aseh. Then he relates to her. I would say the third party owns the piece of paper. The piece of paper is not the ownership, is what's written. What? Right, and it's what the word is. I would say.
Maybe it works, you know what I mean? It's a different system. It doesn't work with Akno. It works with a different system stuff. Right?
So I look later on in Daf Chav Dalet, Chav Gimel, I mean, where the Chav Beis Amud Beis, the Mishnah says, so Machlokes here, how does Evet Kraini goes out? He has to have his own shtar and he has Gita B'Yodaboim Ke'echot. It works somehow. Because as the Ktsois explains, Gita B'Yodaboim, there's no din Nesina, so just giving. There's no din of you giving, it's just her receiving. And a whole Ktsois, remember? And Gita Navayin Chet. Not something called Mokum, right? Any Nesina, even though it's not your own. Okay. So that's shtar. And it's enough for my say, enough for Girushi. What about Kiddushi? I want to adapt shtar al Acherim to Kiddushi. Can I do that too? Over related to Kesef. A third party gave Kesef. So then it works with Yiddivet County. What about shtar? Can shtar work? Somebody else gives a shtar, works for me.
What does it say? What does it say on the star?
And he gives a shtar. And he made up the shtar, and he gave the shtar. He wasn't a shliach. And he gave us Aram Kodesh Leploini. It'll be a shtar or not. So the Mishnah says, Machlokes u'b'shtar de'atzmo ydiv Rabbi Meir. Means, according to Rabbi Meir, he can give the shtar. And the Eved gives the shtar. Nobody else can give shtar for him. I'm saying, b'shtar de'acherim. Shtar could work through others. What?
By Evid. It's not.
No, what does shtar de'acherim means? What does de'acherim mean?
He's saying who's giving the star to who?
Al de'atzmoi means he needs to receive it. Al de'acherim means who receives it. The master gives the star to somebody else for the sake of them.
The best, give the star to the minister.
Kesef, definitely others give the master. What about Kesef? Others gives the master to redeem.
Yeah.
What about star? What do you mean star derche?
Let's give the star to the master. That's what it is.
I don't know. I'm thinking.
Yeah.
What will be the, how does it work? Somebody gives star. No, the owner needs to give a star. That he's free, like Yosef Chaim said. The owner needs to give a star to free the slave. So what does that means? He's zoicha through acherim. Natsmoy means the master gives him but the acherim means others get it for him.
Made it tonight. This is it. And other people give it to him with tonight. This is Shadachim. This is it.
But according to Rabbi Meir, בקידושים בדף 23 א', הם לא צריכים שליחוס for עבד כנעני, and when they give the money to the owner, to the master, the עבד קונה על עצמו, he's free to go. Activity is according to the master, not to the עבד כנעני.
Other people go, another person, if you have a slave, I can come, to a slave, I'm going right back and be a slave. Yes. I give it a slave.
What is the star? What is the function of the star? What does the star do? The star is in place of money. The master has to get something in order to elect his slave for free. He has to receive something. Why is this? What's the dynamic of the star relationship to the master? Is heaven goes free, according to himself. The star is a premise of money. What's written in the star? No, that's it has to be a star that says something that you're free. It has to be some kind of text about freedom, not about pain. Not the stand. That's more. It's not. Has to be the relationship of the master to the slave of the third party. It has to be not just the money, the place of money. Money is a check is money, it's not a star.
It's not a real money itself.
Doesn't matter, it's in the category of star, of money, not a star. No, the star has to be a separate category, not something that's so what's the contract say? I know, okay, it's not a check, that's no way. Yeah, it makes sense and logic and fits simply to reality.
Okay, that's what it is. So by kesef, somebody else gives it to the master or to the wife, and by shtar, the master, which is like he'll be the woman giving, she needs to give.
Woman has to give.
No, I'm saying by Eved, Kesef, they give the master to redeem the slave. By Shtar, the master gives
the Eved
or Acherim the Shtar.
So that he's going free.
It's going to be free, yes.
Shtar works. Shtar works by Acherim.
But it's a different thing.
That's not what a king is.
It's not Shtar. Shtar is others receive it for him. Like the master receive it for the slave, the money. Others receive for the sake of a slave to be free by Shtar.
So the master gives other people a scarf.
So, but by a woman, she always needs to be received. By a woman, she needs to receive the money. And by shtar, she needs to receive the shtar. But who's makna the shtar to her? Others. What do you want to say?
אבני נזר אומר שזה לא מועיל, כאילו שהיא בדין ארץ אימן.
I saw that in Isaiah last night. Remember that?
Where did we get
So
into?
let's see, it's in the end here.
The woman would give him a shtar.
What?
שיטת הרמב"ן, וגם הרש פה.
Shtar.
You don't have to receive his star.
Where do we see that in Isaiah? Where?
They give it to him.
What?
Give something.
Well, you read?
הוא מצטט את נזר סימן ט'
Yes.
קטן
Okay, it's not printed. What does he say? What one Avnei says? Repeat.
כאילו שצריך שתהיה בגלל של כסף, לכן אי אפשר להיכנס לשטר העיבוד, משום ששם אין כלל נתינה, כיוון שלא יצא ממון מהנותן. רק בדין כסף לא צריך נתינה.
שמישהו אחר נותן ומייחס.
אבל
בשטר ששם מישהו אחר, שהעלים, the master is giving to others to makne, so it doesn't work here. Because I need the woman to receive a shtar, not to give a shtar. Doesn't work. So by shtar doesn't work, Medina Mitzkanai. Very good. Good. So now let's go back to us. So by kesef, since the kesef is owned by a third party, she has the ability to my sekin is miyak as the pulo to me. So the question is that action that he wants to miyak as the pulo to me. Is it svara or you need a pasuk for that? You need a limud for that or is it svara? It's a machlokes here. That's what it's Rashi and the Ritva. This is the Reb Shimon Shkol. And let's see it inside. The Sefer HaRitva. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 10 lines on the top. The last words. The Sefer HaRitva. The Ein Kavonas Hashas Lechadesh. The intention of the Gemara, the Shas, is not to tell me a new Chiddush. The Ein Tzorich She's Chaser Amekadesh Kesef. That I don't need the one who does the Kiddushin to be losing money.
Not that.
Yes, not that. Yes. I don't need the Chiddush Eved that I don't need a loss of money. And as I know from common sense. The Kemen Sheishu Kiblo Kesef Mishach. Since the woman received money from somebody else, she doesn't want to give her as a gift. Only with a direction that she was shopping. By definition, when she receives it and doesn't give it back, she's obligated herself as shibud of the money. What do I care if the loss is the one who does the kiddush with somebody else? Since I only need, she is shibud Allah, I just need to have a shibud on her. Because of money to be obligated. So I don't care who gives the money. You have the woman. The woman receives money, and the money she receives, she has an option, or give it back, or to mischayev. So what do I care who gives it? If the husband is losing it, or somebody else giving it, and the husband is lose. There's nothing with her. There's nothing with her. It's with her to be receive and obligate herself. Because she receives something, she obligated marriage. Okay, we'll see in a second. The Sefer HaRitva.
if she takes the money from
What?
she takes the money from the table and doesn't receive.
Doesn't work. Because she did a Maisa herself. Here's somebody, we'll see in a second. 2, 3 more lines, you get the point. What is the Chidush of Maisa of Evet Kanayim? Maisa Akinyan. In the action of the acquisition. The love they are feeling Evet Kanayim. If it was that we learning from Evet Kanayim, we should have said, the cave adin and akesef, since the subject of the money, EF is not possible. Rak only aliday through. Noisul mekabel only through giver and receiver. And you cannot have anything besides a giver and a receiver. Shumochi, therefore, or your mokom loima was a place to say the gam and sinas hakesef, also giving of the money, mitztaref la'maisa kinyan. That action of a third party is mitztaref to the maisa kinyan. Va'akol biyachad u'amaisa.
Not stop saying the money, money is part, it says it's so.
If it wasn't that we learned from it, Kanani would say that since money can only be through giving and a receiver, so also if somebody, when I give money, the giving of the money is part of the Maisakin. And everything together is a Maisakin, which means I cannot separate the giving and the Maisa. But if he's according to this, Maisakin of Kin Kirushi.
That's not a.
If it wasn't for the Kanani, like I would be like Rabbi Yosef Chaim. I cannot separate the giving of the money and the Maisakin. One who gives, he does the Maisakin. I cannot separate the giving and the Maisakin. And if he's according to this, if it wasn't for Evet Kanani, Im Acher or Yonoisen Akesef, somebody else was giving the money, and the husband didn't give her the money. Even though from the side of the receiving of the woman, there's no law, there's no law. She received. However, the sagilon is enough for us. And what she obligated herself, for the sake of the money of somebody else. But from the side of the husband, there's a lot. Shalom also he didn't do the maisa of what? He didn't do a maisa of the sina to be attached to the kinyan. It's tabla kiddushin. I know on the sina show you all of lasois. The sina that was upon him to do, it's a mistake. It's to be all of. And the sina show you all of lasois. The sina was upon him to do. But so somebody else did it. Shalom b'shlichuso, not by being a messenger of him, without being a messenger of him. On this subject, Yalfino Merekanai, we learn from Merekanai. She'ein on the sina mitztarev as klal. The giving is not attached at all. The Maisa Akin for the action of the acquisition. The main thing is only the receiving. I don't need him to give at all. Only. I only need to be receiving of money. The receiver, we obligated receiving the money. The makna, which is the woman, she receives money from somebody else. He didn't want to give the money only with shtabus. So here I have a maisa kinyan through somebody else giving. And why it's a maisa kinyan? Because he owns the money, as he said before. Who he said?
Not the kinyan, that's the giving.
What?
That's not the kinyan, it's the giving. You just said it's the kinyan, it's not the kinyan, it's the giving, not the kinyan.
Yeah, but all the money is in the.
I have a third party that he gave the money. It's either a maisa kinyan. And he gave her the money only in condition that she obligated herself to a third party. So from her, she received money with obligation to a third party. It's okay. Only problem is the husband didn't give. The answer is the husband didn't give. The husband needs to have a maisa kinyan. And if that maisa kinyan, listen to that. A husband needs to have a maisa kinyan. And if the maisa kinyan relates to him through shlichus, through Evet Kanaini, have a maisa that relates to him. A maisa kinyan somebody has created, that somebody has created, and it's relating to him, and it's okay. Doesn't need to have an asina. Normally, the asina does both. When the husband gives money, he also does the maisa kinyan. Here, I'm separating the asina from maisa kinyan. The asina the husband never did, and the maisa kinyan was done through somebody else that owned the money, and he gave it to the woman to mishtabet to him, and that maisa relates to him. So he has a maisa kinyan without an asina, just with relating to him. A maisa kinyan that relates to him. La ilaha illallah. la, 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 la.
Oy, oy, oy,
So-
oy, 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 oy.
One second.
Nothing in here. So how can you buy something?
That's not true. Here, somebody did it for you. Yes.
Then see that is the.
One second. I'm moving. Yes.
The original law from Eric Klein, it was the clear Kitikne. And then I was learned that the Kabbalah, that the Messina is not important. But here we're learning why in the Klein the Kabbalah is important? Because the master wants the money. So that's what's important. But who says that in Kiddushin?
They need a kippah.
Yeah.
You need a relationship between a husband and wife. They don't need a sina. Every knain you go is mechadash. Every knain is a basic kinyan.
It doesn't matter.
For you, and she received the money in order to be stabbat for you. It's enough basic kinyan that relates to you to create a relationship with your husband.
For the woman, he is the owner of the man.
That is not a shliach. Is it? We did it with
Yeah,
knain.
yeah, sorry.
He relates. We meyaches through shlichus or through with knain.
Money and everything. But when he gave that, he forbid the woman for other work. Who say that force that we say in Metzie, yes, no migo, migo, zachi, lenashe, zachi, lechav.
Yes.
Here, what is the migo? Maybe the woman doesn't want to get married with this guy or Ruben. So how?
She agreed.
No.
She received the money.
With Shimon, but Reuven is making the kiddush.
Maiseki.
So who said he has no migo here to say migo that I would marry the woman? I would dachile.
No migo here. There's no migo. Don't need a migo. You don't need a migo. You need to own the money to create a maiseki.
That's we are not talking about shlichus. So how he can create this relation, whatever, because it's something another. So no follow. The husband doesn't.
I don't know you. That's what you say. I don't know. I'm saying that's a question of Knaini. Every Knaini tells you that you can relate somebody else Maisa to the husband. Somebody that creates a Maisa Kiddushin, he can relate in Miyaches and Pa'ula to the husband. That's all we learn. Or even he would say that the Ritva owns.
Anyone in the world. But when this guy married a woman in the name of the whatever for the other guy,
Yes.
he's forbidden the woman for other world. Who say that is the same comparison between everything she goes free? It's not a foil.
He's not going free.
But the woman.
He's not
No,
going.
we're only learning mitzad the Maisa. You talking about? We are learning mitzad the Maisa. Can somebody else do the Maisa for you? Miyaches a Maisa to you. That's all. Now that you can miyaches the Maisa to you. That's all. בעניין זה אלפינו ואת קנייני, שאין הנסיני מצטרף כלל למייסקי. העיקר רק הקבולה, I don't need a נסיני. ואין צורך נסיני כלל, רק שתהיה בזה קבולת כסף. Yes.
Don't need it at all.
I don't need it because Misach to you. He said before, in the Oifen Hashenis, Misach to you.
I think the two are fine is one.
ואין צורך נסיני כלל, רק שתהיה בזה קבולת כסף, שהמקבל ישחי בקבולת הכסף. שהמקל קיבל כסף, מהערך שלו רוצה ליתן הכסף, רק משתמש. ולא ידומי, I'm reading the last 4 lines. ולא ידומי לאין איצי לו המקדש דבר שלפת. What happens is the Mekadesh, he created for her reality something which is Hefker. Hefker. He knows where there's Hefker money or Hefker value. And he says, if you marry me, I will show you where it is. She'eina miskadesh with it. She's not miskadesh with it. Such a case. Why? Rakim itno ba'asnos, only if he made a condition. You want me to show you this free thing? Marry me. Then it works. If he made a condition to enjoy from the pleasure of showing you where is it, finding you the hefker, works. But if it doesn't work. Why? Why doesn't work? The awesome zochso mishalev gedeh, she married from hefker. There's no ishtabdus for the sake of hefker. Unless he tells her the pleasure that I'm going to show you where's the lost object, that pleasure marry me, otherwise you have to give me back that pleasure. So that's something you can make kaddish. But stam mansi dovo shalevke, the money doesn't create any ishtabdus. But when the husband he appointed a messenger to acquire her the money, and so I don't really come at that's the Ritva's problem. Ritva says, if the pshat is that this third party is a shliach of the husband, I don't have to come on Tevet Knaini. Why? I know, which means the Afim no even going to say, Shetzoy Kesef Shia Maisa Nesina Al Demekad. Even if I would say that Kesef Maisekicha needs in the Sina. Not enough that would be a Maisekin through somebody else related to you. You need a Sina. Even if I'm going to say that. I still Shlichus will solve that. The Afim no even going to say. Shetzoy Bekesef Shia Maisa Nesina Mekadesh. That in money, Kiddush Kesef, I need a Maisa Nesina giving through the husband. Shenoima, in order to say, the Gaman Nesina Tzivula Maisa Kinyan, that I attach the husband's giving to the Maisa Kinyan. I cannot separate as somebody else who creates, somebody else owns the money, creates the Maisa Kinyan, and it relates to me without a Maisa Nesina. No, the Nesina is part of Maisa Kinyan. But if I appoint someone as a Shliach, say he's Maisa Kinyan, it's my Maisa Kinyan. So I have it all. I got in such a case, they came in a shlucholi, since I send this man to a makler of the kesef, even though he doesn't own the money, shliach owns the money. I midin shlichus choshiv ki'ilu asa meshalech. Midin shlich was considered that the sender did the maise, even the subject of giving. Ainu aknolo, which means the acquisition. Kefi oinu finashlichus hasheni. So I have everything. I have somebody that a maisa that wants to relate to me, and I have a nesina, because his nesina is my nesina. So I have it all. I have a maisa, he owns the money, creates a maisa kiyah. Where's my nesina? So the Ritva says we don't need a maisa nesina. That's what we learn from Bet Kanaini. Comes the Ritva says, but if I don't learn from Bet Kanaini, and I have shlichus, it's another way to solve it. That's what he says. According to you, Rashi, they made him a shliach. I don't have to come onto my to Bet Kanaini. Why? Because if somebody else gave his money, he did a Maisa Kinyan, so we learned from it, I don't need him. He said, if he appointed him as a shliach, even if I need a Maisa Nesina, I have. Because his Maisa Nesina is my Maisa Nesina. So I have it all. So every day. So I have a Maisa Nesina that actually is Maisa. He does a Maisa Kinyan because he owns the money. One who owns the money creates a Maisa Kinyan. What about my Maisa Nesina that the Ritva needs to learn from Bet Kanaina? You don't need. This needs to relate to me. No, if it comes the Ritva and says, according to you, Rashi, that he made him a shliach, I don't have to come to the Chidush of Bet Kanaina because I have here Nesina. Even if I need the Nesina of the husband, I have. Because he's a messenger. And his Nesina is the sender's Nesina. Yes, what do you want to say?
The death pain it depends of the agreement of the husband after he said yes or no. Let's say that the woman zinta between.
Yes.
And says, hey, you want to get married? I am yes. Okay. Death pain. You want to marry? No, not death pain. It can be possible that the Torah makes such a deal that it depends of the husband if she's going to have death pain or not, the potential husband. No,
but between when and when? Between which 2 points?
when the owner of the money is the man.
Yes.
In the name of the third party.
Yes.
Okay? And after we have to give it to the husband.
Right.
And he has to say yes or no.
Right.
And let's say that between she's distant with another man. Okay?
Yes.
So it will depend of him, of his decision, if he will you have that pain or not. It can't be possible that the Torah says something like that. This is not acceptable. Not acceptable. Not.
לא מתקבל על הדעת, he said.
There'll be a different problem because I don't believe him. Because he has Negias now. It's a different story.
What?
Yeah.
He said, like the woman, like the woman.
No, but we don't believe him later on. What does Gilui mean? I assume whatever he says now, I know that he wanted in the beginning. But if he has Negiot, he has other internal motives that we worry for. We won't believe him. I won't have a Gilui in such a case. She did Zinsa maybe. But we don't know when she's not Zinsa and he doesn't have any other motives. There's a concept of Gilui that he tells you that he didn't want in the beginning. What? He didn't finish it. And if he must go down once again, he's going to say now. He's going to explain how Rashi will answer this. First, he explained the Ritva, why the Ritva says, if is Shlichus, I don't need a Vekanaini, because Shlichus does a Maisa Nesina. But I learned from a Vekanaini, I don't need a Nesina, I just need a Maisa Kinyan that relates to me. What? You know, Shlichus, a Maisa Kinyan that one owns the money did relates to me. And now I learn from a Vekanaini. I have it by itself, because the Vekanaini relates to me. The Vekanaini. That relates to me. That Maisa relates to me. What about Nesina? You don't need a Nesina. You just need a Maisa Kinyan that relates to me. Maisa Kicha that relates to me. That's the Ritva. And if he was a Shliach, I don't have to come on to Vekanaini. That's the Kasha of the Ritva. What? Died, yes. Yes, no.
All the thing like a woman.
It'd be a suffix. We don't know if he agreed or not. Let's say he died until he reveals. It's suffix. Somebody go nesh. But if he must kosafti, it's a gilui. If it's not a gilui, I attach. We said it's for a gilui yet. So if he dies, doesn't be a suffix. But if he must kosafti, madiika bazeh hevdel ben pirushash, the pirushash ritvozah. So according to what I wrote, what's the difference in Rashi and Rivi and how he defines it? I'm reading in page 4. He says, Ein, the Ilam Midin of it Kanaini, if it wasn't from the law of it Kanaini, Ainu Matzrichim Shis Chaser HaKoine, we will require that the buyer needs to have a lack. Ezedov or something. Should be Shvilo, the HaKoine means the husband, to acquire. Needs to lose something. Should be Shvilo to Shabbat, that's what HaKoine. For that loss, she will Shabbat herself to him. And this we learn that it helps. I said even somebody else loses. You losing this giving, also for her benefit. Somebody else lose, and she enjoys it for that, for the sake of the kiddush is enough too. Same way by a slave who works, others gives money to the master, and the slave didn't lose any money. That's why Rashi learns. He's a messenger. Lekacho to Mekadasher. Umekacho Mishelo, and he's Mekadosh from his own money. And when we're going to judge Aliyah Nechisoan on the subject of a lack, the fact that the third party, according to Rashi, the fact that the third party is a messenger of the husband doesn't make a change. The fact that the third party is a messenger of the husband does not make a change, doesn't make a change in that he needs that in order for her to be mishtabet to him, he needs to lose. So okay, I made a messenger, but he didn't lose anything, so why should we mishtabet to him? Yes. In order for her to connect to him, in order for her to mishtabet, we said two slogans. We have a machloikas and the yasoy. If a woman receives money that is painted, the money is painted, it says, you want to receive that money, obligate yourself not to meet the third party. Is that svor or not? According to the Ritz, it's a svor. I don't need to have a knaini for that. The chiddush of a knaini is that the giver doesn't have the nesina. That the husband, in the kiikach of the husband, he doesn't need to give a nesina. The maise that is done through somebody else can relate to it. That's the ritva. Rashi says, no, I argue in essence. I argue that somebody else gives money for me. He paints the money and he says, that money will obligate not to me, to somebody else. I need a Vetkanani to teach me that. Without, I don't know Misvara. If I know Misvara, so then the Shtabdush is Chal, I just need a Mechadesh that the relationship to Meyach is that Maisatim is enough without a Maisa in the scene of the giver, of the husband. I erase the Maisa, that's Chiddush. But the relationship is a common sense that I can take a Maisa, the Zikin, and Meyach and somebody else that the Meshalech. I can make a Maisa Kiddushim. Third party gives the money, owns the money, do a Maisa Kiddushim, Maisa Kiddushim. And he relates it to the husband, that's Misvara. But where's the staff, where's the Maisa Nesiv of the husband? Kiikach of the husband. Say I don't need, can be done through a relationship. Yachas, that's a Chiddush of its kind. But according to the Ritva, according to Rashi, the Chiddush of kind is that thing itself. That really when I give money, painted money to a woman, and says, listen, I want you to Meshaber somebody else, without a Kanaina, I won't know it would work. So, and 1 second, and even if I point him as a shliach, won't help, because the shliach can only do a ma'aseh for me, but the chisoron, in order to pay that money to be obligated a third party without a chiddush of evet k'nayim, won't know. Shlichus won't solve it. What solves it is evet k'nayim. The mashe hashliach nichsar kesef, אי אפשר ליחס לעבר כמובן without evet k'nayim. The shliach's money. And he's not makneh to the husband. He does a ma'aseh for the husband. He's not makneh the money to the husband. He's not makneh the money to the husband. He's relating the ma'aseh to the husband. And without evet k'nayim, and evet k'nayim according to Rashi, really is a shliach of him. That third party is a shliach of him, but the shliach doesn't help. But to direct the money to him, to direct the shiabut to him without evet k'nayim. Without a chiddush evet k'nayim, I won't know to direct it to him. The Ritva explains, the chiddush of the shas of evet k'nayim is not on the lack. The Zaynad Misvah that I know for common sense, the Me'ani that helps, somebody else loses for. That his son and a poil klum, the losing of the money doesn't make an effect in the essence of the kinyan. Rak only. Because common sense, if somebody else loses and he says, I want to direct it for you, it will work. Common sense is not part of the kinyan. But she, through this, obligated herself with the money of somebody else, that's common sense. Because she's mishtabed for the sake of the money. But I have a problem. The husband didn't take her. There's no sin of the husband. I don't need to attach the nesina of the husband to the Maisa Kinyan of the third party. The Ika Kinyan, I say, the Ika Kinyan is being done through the Maisa Kinyan. I don't need a nesina. Rak, the Kabbalah, Maisa nesina with the Maisa Kinyan. With the Maisa Kinyan. Kabbalah with the Maisa Kinyan without nesina. The Kamon of Chavkim and Farish Oidin and Zebish Sapoiskim. Even the sin of Mitzvah Lekini of Atobianu and Zebi Asugio. Okay. That's it. Yes, what do you want to say? Yes, Rabbi, yes. Right. It's enough. I don't need a Nesina, I need a Maisakiyan. No, then I don't need, right, but I need a Maisakiyan to be Akasabah. I need a Maisakiyan, Kicha to be Akasabah. זה הוא אומר בהתחלה, האופר השני, שהמייסה מתייחס. אז הוא אמר, זה כמו שהמייסה מתייחס. מייסה, Kinyan of the third party is miyachas to the husband. What do you want to say? Not shlichus, we did evet k'nayini. The yachas, it's or shlichus, or evet k'nayini, he says it works. Midikser asakos, it works to misyachas. Kind of. We're going to see more than Chaim Alevi. Today, tomorrow, we have to see the Kashmuel sees involved. By the way, I printed here the Chaim Alevi. It's the next page in the big Kashmuel. That's how the people should focus. Today, tomorrow, Yeshua Kloli, and also on Shavuos night. This is what I want the people to learn. To relate, there's a big Chaim here. understand this. What do you want to say?
Why?
Why?
It says, because the word says, he has to take her. That the end of the divorce, he has to take her. That's it. He doesn't take her. She has to be serious. So he cut the basket of the divorce.
Right. You're right. That's the Kiddush here, and I'll explain the concept of it. You're right. You have the Kiddush, but how does it work, Yeski? Kiddush, maybe it's wrong. Now, once as I explained, you're right. I agree that he knocked out the simple understanding we learned until now. We learned until now, kicha, besides my sekicha. He's saying, I have kicha through somebody who leaves, dies to me. I agree. It's mechana should be kiddush and kicha. Abikana, yes, Rabbi. Yes. Yes. Again, repeat. No difference. No difference. I understand. There's no difference. If we look at the longest of it, not looking at the reality. Because we don't understand the same. The Canadian and the class showing the Fika. Jemand, der mit der Lage ist, man sich gut realist, der ist nicht schwer, aber wir sind nicht kein Wort. Da komma los timorai ko taganisho ande savata elo kon shomona kon shomona mi ana mi ko pan kan shomona bobe shomona shmaya kan ko ze bobe sechlo ya sabata mo shomona mo ko ze bobe